Whatever you guys do, do not attack any of the white Nevrons in Expedition 33. Throughout your journey, you're going to encounter a lot of them, and after interacting with them, you do have the option to attack them and kill them. Fulfilling their requests almost always results in a positive outcome. Keeping them alive lets you secure a sweet 100 bonus Lumina at the fountain, which is absolutely, we'll take that any day. The fountain is a location later accessible by flight on the world map. Trust me, this is going to come in super handy for our game-breaking builds, and you don't want to miss out on 100 free Lumina. Another amazing tip, one of the absolute best Pictos in the game can be missed early on, so make sure you don't make this mistake. When you arrive at the Gestural Village, you can actually roam around and explore quite a lot before continuing with the objective. There's a lot of NPCs to talk to, but make your way immediately to the casino at the very back of the Gestural Village. Talk to the man behind the door, and he'll ask you a trick question. The answer to say here is, I don't care. Doing this will get you the roulette Picto, one of the most powerful ones in the game that we're going to be using on everybody basically forever. You now have a 50% chance of hitting either 50% less damage or 200% more damage. It's absolutely broken and very much needed. The difference between 50% and 200% is easily seen here. Sometimes you'll hit 63 million damage with our crazy broken build, or you can hit over 400 million with our crazy broken build. This is why roulette is so amazing. You're going to want to learn this ASAP and slap this on everyone. Also, there is one missable trophy, and it's in the very beginning of the game. In the intro, when you're walking around Lumier, check the right side of the harbor before you continue forward. There's going to be a mine there. Defeating this mine will give you a music record, but also a trophy. And you won't be able to get this trophy until you unlock New Game Plus or replay the game. So you definitely want to take advantage of this and make sure you don't miss out on this mine. And while you're at it, talk to everybody in Lumier, exhaust all the options. This game's really good. Guys, we got about 33 amazing tips for Clair Obscur Expedition 33 to help you in your journey. You're going to be finding some amazing stuff in here and also breaking the game along the way. Don't worry, the more game-breaking stuff happens at the very end of the game, and I got you guys covered. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to help raise that 38% even higher. And also consider securing Expedition 33 if you haven't yet over here on our website, Instant Gaming. Shout out to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this. Expedition 33 is $34 for the Steam edition right now, and you can also get the deluxe version for $40. Amazing deals all around. And if you want to get this on PlayStation, we also got PlayStation Network gift cards for $50 that are actually going at $48, so you get a little bit of savings on top of that. I know right now I think the PlayStation Plus accounts do get a discount already, but either way, no matter where it is you decide to secure Expedition 33, I can't recommend it enough. This game is fantastic and you don't want to miss out on this. Also, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, we have our spoiler-free review video uploaded on the channel right now. I actually posted about it on Twitter earlier, and I want to thank you guys for supporting that and checking that out. I'll be linking that down below for you guys. And also, we got the crazy 273.9 million damage build coming your way, so make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss out on that, because we're going to break down exactly what you need for this stuff to work, because it's over like 50 different buffs. I'm not kidding you. It took a lot of work to put this together, and it's been a lot of fun. It's probably my most favorite thing about this game is how much we can customize, do min, max, and all that stuff. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Now we got some more amazing stuff. You're going to want to secure Maelle's best weapon in the game as soon as possible. You can actually get it also in the Gestural Village. You're going to have to participate in a tournament in the story. Depending on which character you use to win this tournament, a specific weapon for that character will drop. Make sure you do the tournament as Maelle to get her best weapon in the game, the Medallum. She always, with this weapon, starts off in virtuous mode, and this can be extremely broken way later on. Completing this section rewards you with it, and it's amazing. If you miss this weapon, at this current point in the story, this tournament is the easiest way to get this. You could always get each character's individual weapon afterwards, but in order to do that, you got to complete a more tougher challenge against Golgra. Yeah, secure Maelle's, don't worry about the others until later. If you started a battle, but you need to change something, or once you're testing a build out, then you need to reconfigure something, or even roulette didn't get the 200%, you could actually reload the most recent save while in the middle of the battle to basically restart the fight. This has helped me out so much, especially if I forgot to grab an item that I saw in the background behind the enemy. Really cool to see that this has actually been implemented into the game. It's kind of similar to what Metaphor allows you to do. Now, our next tip is actually about the turn order for your characters. At lower levels, early game agility levels that is, walking into an enemy will allow the enemy to attack first before your teammates, and then your turn order will start making your furthest left teammate attack first. I suggest reordering your team to fit your setup. For me, I like to have Sciel go first because with her kit, she can buff everyone. So in order to do this, you're going to want to remove everybody from the party except her. She has to be the number 1 selected choice. And then the next person you add after will go number 2. And then the same follows for the number 3 character. This is also the case for the first strike Picto, which you will get later on. If you have everyone equipped with it, the turn order from the menu dictates who goes first. Again, this is at lower agility levels. So as you get more agility, none of this will really matter. But early on, you definitely want to pay attention to this. And also, pressing R1 to strike enemies will always put you into a first strike. And this is where your characters will go first. And whoever has the highest speed and agility will attack first. This next one is really important for PlayStation 5 controllers on PC using Steam. By default, the game, if using Steam input, will suggest Xbox inputs even if you're using a PlayStation 5 controller and give you Xbox vibrations. But if you right-click Clair Obscur in Steam, go to Properties and Controller, you can actually disable Steam input, which will force the PlayStation icons into the game and also give you the DualSense haptic vibrations. You do have to restart the game in order for this to take effect, so keep that in mind. In combat, sometimes you'll see a move that you can select and it'll be highlighted orange. This means that the sub effect of this move can actually be activated at this current moment due to certain battle conditions being met. Like with Maelle, her move Swift Stride has a sub effect on it when you use it on a burning enemy. This means that if the enemy is burning and you use Swift Stride on them, it'll immediately put her into Virtual Stance, which will get her 200% more damage. Again, this only happens if the enemy is burned. Swift Stride will light up orange, meaning you can activate its effect. You use this to understand your character's move list because every character is different, but these highlight orange texts are always going to be the same, activating whenever certain battle conditions are met. For Gustav, his overcharge mechanic actually depends on the melee hits that he lands. Base attack Pictos can help him get to bonus charges too if you're using those, making his basic attacks hit multiple times. But Lumier Assault and Strike Storm generally are all you need for Gustav. Once 10 hits are achieved, he can use the overcharge for max damage and break damage output, as indicated by the orange font like we talked about before. Also, parry strikes from Gustav count towards the overcharge as well. Another tip relates to the input function when selecting a move. Some people might not like having to press buttons on offense in order to land hits, because later on in the game, some new moves obtained can be a little harder or difficult to land for some people. The devs have thought about this and put in the accessibility options that you could actually enable auto QuickTime event. This will always trigger the offensive QTEs for you. However, keep in mind, offense will be automatically done. However, when you have to defensively use parry or dodge the enemy attacks, it won't do it automatically for you. It says that in the menu too. Now, the actual best Picto in the game as of right now can be secured as early as Act 2. To the left of the BltzZ graveyard is a large giant enemy in the water named Sprong. He hits pretty damn hard and he has a long combo hit, but his patterns can be learned to easily dodge or parry. It's honestly the best thing about this game. No enemy is unbeatable early on, especially if you have the perfect defense or learn their moves. Beating Sprong as early as possible means you unlock the Cheater Picto, which is the perfect name for this. Yes, it's actually called Cheater. It lets the character who equips this attack twice, which can be abused later on. It does cost a lot of Lumina to passively equip it onto other characters, which is as balanced as this will get. But I cannot express enough how broken this is, especially when you use it on Sciel, who gets a move called Intervention to force other characters to take their turns now and skip enemies. This also is going to be really good on another character named Verso, which we'll talk about a little later. Another tip is character specific, but it works wonders with Sciel. Sciel, in my opinion, is the best character in the game. As soon as you unlock her, you can actually get her skills, Intervention or Fortune's Fury. I recommend getting Intervention first, which allows her to select a teammate when it's her turn and give them 4 AP and make them take their turn now, skipping enemies' turns. Now, if you have the Cheater Picto equipped onto Sciel and everyone else, this can get kind of out of hand. You can make your characters go 6 times in a row because guess what? Cheater continues to activate in this way. Or at least they'll be able to get 6 moves off total before your opponent can even react. If you don't have the Cheater Picto, you could also use another Picto called Faster Than Strong. I use this on Sciel early on to simulate the same effect. This lets her attack twice in a row, but she deals 50% less damage. Sciel won't be dealing damage anyways, so this is still pretty good to run. And if you get Fortune's Fury, which doubles the selected teammate's attack, you can force Intervention after to make them attack immediately to deal massive big damage, or use this to buff both teammates. This game is incredibly flexible, guys. If it is not apparent yet, Pictos are absolutely amazing, and it's the most important thing in the game to learn them ASAP. A learned Picto will have a 4-sided diamond, fully highlighted, and a color in the middle. You need to have it equipped on a character participating in a battle and win with them in the battle for this to register. As soon as it learns, again, it takes 4 battles, anyone can then equip it passively if you have enough Lumina. You can't use the passive stats that come with it, like the speed or the crit chances and stuff, but you can use the effect and have hundreds of different Pictos on characters. And at this point, guys, you're going to want to constantly swap Pictos. Don't just let any character sit on the same build for the entire game. Use them all to master each one and continuously do this as you're playing through the game. Also, get into the habit of visiting the campsites after every story event. There's a lot of meaningful dialogue and backstory to be discovered here, and opportunities to level up relationships with characters to unlock more moves. It requires you to spend time with a character, so anytime that option shows up in the camp, you should absolutely take it. And also, while you're at the camp, do not miss an opportunity to write in Gustav's journal. Writing in Gustav's journal will actually come in super handy later on. When you make your return to the Gestrel village, there's a Gestrel in the bazaar that you can talk to. Speaking to this Gestrel will give you 20 Lumina per journal entry written. You can get 100 Lumina this way, which is an extra on top of what we already got before. Lumina levels are going to go crazy, guys. I'm in the 450s on 2 characters, and seemingly we can go even further than that. Monoko is the technical blue mage of this game. He actually uses enemy attacks, some amazing ones at that too, but he doesn't need to learn it by getting hit like in Final Fantasy. He actually needs to collect the enemy's feet by being in the party when defeating said enemy. There's going to be a red icon on enemy health bars, which means Monoko does not have that enemy foot yet, and beating it will learn him their skill. Obviously, this would take forever to find and learn all of his abilities, but actually, the best way to unlock all of his abilities in the easiest way is to have him in the party whenever you go to the Endless Tower. This tower lets you fight every single enemy in the game again, and it lets you secure their delicious feet from Monoko. Can't even say that with a straight face. Earning AP in the middle of battles can actually be pretty tedious when you need to do basic attacks sometimes to build it back up, but you actually can manipulate this with the dead energy Picto that you get early on in the game. This makes it so that when you kill an enemy, you actually gain 3 AP. So what we can do is let another teammate whose turn is coming up hit the last hit on a low health enemy. Basically, you're taking their health down as low as possible with one teammate, and then you're going to use another character's shots to kill that enemy and regain AP that they use on those shots. Really solid strategy very early on, but it doesn't really matter too much in the end game thanks to other great Pictos. However, this can make or break some close encounters and has really saved my ass many times over. If you do want to challenge or you just want to level up a character who's fallen behind other teammates, you could actually run solo parties at any time in this game. Just click remove from party on ones you don't want, and voila. Solo crazy runs can commence. In this game, you can actually parry, jump over, or dodge enemy attacks. Parry windows are tight and the ultimate high-risk reward, because when you master parries, you deal amazing counter damage. Dodging, on the other hand, has a slightly larger window to land compared to parry, but by default, it doesn't give you any AP back when using it. But the very first Picto we earn in the game, called Dodger, lets us equip it for only 1 Lumina on everyone, and then it'll make dodging enemy attacks earn you AP. It's a fantastic starter equipment, and it only costs 1 Lumina. If the dodge reads a perfect dodge, that means that timing was actually perfect for a parry to work. So if a dodge reads just regular dodge, that means it was not a perfect moment for a parry, and you chose correctly with dodge since you were slightly early on the input. Basically, you're going to want to use dodge to get used to the parry windows or timing attacks early on against enemies. After 2 or 3 days, guys, your parries are going to be on fire, so I can't wait to see what you guys think about that. Lumier has a unique combat mechanic tied to the stains that she has for elements. She technically has 5 different stains that she can activate: fire, ice, earth, lightning, and light. Light is actually a wildcard element and can fill in for any of the elements. She can make 1 or multiple depending on the move being used. Actually, on the top right of all of her moves, it tells you which stains will be created from using this move. And at the bottom of those moves, it also can say which stain this move will consume in order to deal more damage. So there is a general rule that you want to follow when you're playing as Lumier to build up her stains and try to keep 2 or 3 within stock, so that at any time we could secure 4 stains and use her bigger devastating attacks like Elemental Genesis, which actually consumes all stains in order to deal extreme damage to all enemies and land 8 hits. A good late game strategy is to force max crit chances on her and use Elemental Trick, which deals all elements per crit. This will generate a guaranteed stain on a crit and will always fill up her stain since she's at the maximum crit chance. Then on the next following turn, you could actually use Elemental Genesis to devastate enemies. She's extremely fun. There's so many great characters in this game. I ended up swapping her out as soon as we got Sciel though, but it's not impossible to make every character viable with this. Every level a character gets, they receive 3 attribute points and 1 skill point. They can always be respec'd easily too with recoats, which you can get all over the game. So don't worry if you choose the wrong skills, you can always respec spec. The general rule of thumb to follow is actually based off of your weapon's proficiency letters. The higher a level a weapon is, the higher the stat grade gets, S being the highest. Dumping all of your points into the corresponding letters will boost that weapon's power even further. When it comes to luck, it actually affects your crit and the other stats in a minor way, but crit overall. There's tons of Pictos that actually naturally boost your crit passively, so there's no need to really waste points here in my opinion. You really just need 100% crit, so overcapping it in my opinion is a waste. You could always use those skill points in another much needed stat class. Focusing the letter grades of your ideal weapon is always the way to go. And if you end up switching a weapon, don't worry, you could always recoat. Maelle's best weapon, we already talked about, is the Medallum. Even though you get it early on in the Gestural Village, the game actually has a weird bug right now. On paper, her strongest weapon should be the Barrier Breaker. It even shares the same exact letter grades as the Medallum. So you don't have to spec into different stats. But in battle, Medallum always hits harder than the Barrier Breaker. Plus, you always start off in Virtuos, which technically saves us one turn whenever you start a fight. Skill ability points. You're actually going to want to swap these out a lot, or once you find a solid 3 or 4 moves you want a character to focus on, you're going to have to recoat and just beeline a path to get it and focus on the next one. Like for Maelle, Last Chance is a necessity in order to force Virtuos. It takes her down to 1 HP, which is very vital also for her high damage build outputs with the Picto combinations that we have. This move also gives her max AP, and in combination with Sciel, definitely recommend it. Speaking of Sciel, Intervention, we already talked about this, is a must secure, so I always go straight for that one in her skill tree. You can reach it fastest from the right side. Then after that, I would go for Fortune's Fury. For Gustav, Strike Storm is our first priority. That move deals massive damage and multiple strikes to build his overcharge quickly. And critical hits give him bonus 2 charges towards overcharge, essentially guaranteeing it could max out the charges if your crit is high enough. For Lumier, we're going to want to get Elemental Trick, then Elemental Genesis, as we talked about before. They are pretty expensive points-wise, which is why Lumier kind of falls off, in my opinion, towards the middle of the game. But again, you could hard focus her and get these skills ASAP if you plan accordingly. And the mysterious Verso. He has a last chance ability like Maelle. It's called Overload, which takes him down to 1 HP, but fills up his AP entirely. Previously, in early access, this was actually broken. It costed 0 AP and you could use it anytime. Now, since the day 1 patch has been activated, they actually changed this, and now it costs 6 AP in order to use, which is fine because we typically start off battles with 6 AP. So for our current builds, this doesn't really change much. Also, using this will raise his ranking system mechanic immediately to A rank. It used to be immediately to S rank, but there's another weapon that we could use for Verso that always forces him to be in S rank, but he can't heal, which is just fine because we have a lot of great ways to manipulate that build. You definitely want that and Steel Strike ASAP, which Steel Strike is his best move. It's his devastating Omni Slash. For skills and abilities, moves that say extreme damage are your high priority and focus. High damage and very high damage is also great, but extreme scales the most and deals the most overall DPS that the character can output. You definitely want to focus on extreme moves for characters as soon as you can, but this is if you want to maximize damage. You could always try out the other moves, see what you like best. In my Let's Play, I kind of beeline the story just so I can minimize the editing that I had to do so I could upload them for you guys, but I can't express enough. Don't do that if you can avoid it. If you see an optional boss, go ahead and try to fight it always. And I did the same as well. It's just there's certain ones that I ended up having to come back to later. Learn their patterns, learn to parry and dodge. Defeating them early on are giving you super rewards as far as XP, mental skills, and of course the valuable Pictos that they occasionally drop, or even weapons. Yes, speaking of weapons, at the camp, you could use currency to level up your weapons, but some boss fights and optional boss fights actually auto level your weapons up to the next tier for you. So keep that in mind too if you want to save up some currency. And speaking of the currency, at the end of the game when you're doing side content, there's actually a lot of great areas to farm grandiose currency, which is used to make weapons go to level 32. But the final level, going from 32 to 33, you actually need a different currency called Perfect, which is extremely rare and highly limited. So you definitely want to hoard these and save them because the weapon damage going from 32 to 33 is massive, but the perfect currencies are very limited, guys. I only have 2 left and I'm struggling to find more now. Pictos can also be leveled up too by fighting certain optional bosses or buying the upgraded levels of them in gestural merchant shops. So if you see in a gestural merchant shop, there's a Picto that you already have, this doesn't mean you can buy a duplicate, this just means you can level it up. And doing this is within your best interest if it's a Picto that you're going to want to equip directly onto a character in order to take advantage of the passive stats. Also, there are 9 lost gestural kids that you can find on the map. The reward for finding them is so ass. pass, like, I'm not even joking. This Picto is not worth it. It's pretty bad. But finding 4 of them allows you to now break the blue rocks. And that opens up new paths and a lot of levels that you actually previously visited to get new areas to check out, find new treasures, get more Lumina. And this also happens on the world map too. There's these breakable blue totems. You can break that and find more currency, Lumina, and secret Pictos. On the bottom right above your characters in battle, when you strike or defend, Pictos that you have equipped will occasionally pop up on the right side. This is just to tell you what you just activated and what just happened, so you can get an idea of what's working and how often they are working within battle, because a lot of Pictos are based on chances and luck. You could also change the difficulty of the game at any time if you are struggling. Enemies can still one-shot you on normal, which is great for challenges, but keep this in mind, you could always switch if you're struggling on expert. Also, if you get stuck in a bug, you can also reload the save file, which usually creates 3 or 4 saves every few minutes, and you could also force a save by touching the flag really quick. It says it on the bottom left if this is activating the flag. And finally, the best tip I can give you guys: get lost, wander off of the objective, and absolutely try to discover new crazy things. It's totally okay in this game. It's kind of how this game is designed. There's no map. There's no way to really tell exactly if you're going the right direction or not. But I found so much of the good broken stuff and Pictos by getting lost within the game. So you definitely want to explore, fight everything you can, and do that to improve your matchup knowledge and have the most fun, because a lot of these side fights were some of my favorite ones within the game. And there you have it, guys. I hope these tips help you out. There's so much left that we have to talk about in this game, and I can't wait to hear about your experiences in the comments down below. We got the broken team build video coming up next, as well as individual character guides. So make sure you guys don't miss out on it. And if you haven't yet, secure Expedition 33 today via the Instant Gaming link for $40 for the Deluxe Edition or $34 for the Instant Gaming Standard Edition. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. More Clair Obscur Expedition 33 videos are on the way, and you don't want to miss what we got in store for you guys. My name is BltzZ, and thanks for watching.